to join up. I will
Mm-hmm.
first start with putting my settings like music a little bit down.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the sound of the cars will be a little bit too harsh. Yes, alright, that's better. So, let's wait for a few people to join up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Then we start. Alright. Let's first check if we are live. Mm, yes, we are. We are. Nice. We already have one viewer.
I think
That's
that might be me. I've got it set
Yeah,
up
we
for the
we
chat.
got two. We got two. So
All
we
right.
definitely have one. So Cameron, first of all, thanks for joining this evening.
Good evening, David. My pleasure.
Yeah. How are you? First of all.
Yeah, I'm good. I've been good. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm fine as well. Thanks for asking. Of course. Let's begin talking about the Grand Prix of Bahrain. Your
Mhm.
qualifying was, I think, around P14. Where was it?
It was a wee bit lower than that because I put in my banker lap on my first lap, and then every lap after that I invalidated. So I only have
Ah,
my banker lap. I qualified like P17
P17. Okay. So you started
or P16.
P17, and were you disappointed with your qualifying? Did you hope more for it, or?
Yeah, I was really disappointed with qualifying, but I knew that I probably had another couple places in me if I had a clean lap in after my banker. I knew I had a wee bit more in me, so I was pretty hopeful for the race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started on the medium tire, of course. Was it always the plan to start on the medium, or did you, like, maybe convince yourself, or like, were in a debate with yourself, like, let's start on the soft or hard, or was just medium always the plan for you, for yourself?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't do an awful lot of preparation for Bahrain. I hadn't done a practice race. I'd only done a wee bit of time trials, like getting my setup. So I pretty much went in blind in terms of strategy, and I just played it safe with the game's fastest strategy. I was like, I'm not messing about with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
of course. So, starting in P17, of course, the lap one chaos with people flying over each other and crashes. And I think you, yeah, were able to get a lot of positions after that. Where were you after the lap turn one chaos?
Right. Turn one, I came out in P7, I think. So I gained 9 or 10 places in turn one.
That's
But
crazy.
then on the exit of turn two, I got a wee bit squirrely. The rear end kind of kicked out a wee bit, so Roy managed to get back past me. Um, but yeah, I was really like I was saying to Austin before the race because we were in a party. I was like, right, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a big incident at turn one, and I'm going to be like, oh god, I'm going to drive right through it, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. But of course, after the lap one incident, you were in P7. Were you able to like manage your pace, or did you had a lot of fighting around you?
Yeah, Sondre also got past me at one point, and he was sort of I was within his DRS, but I didn't really want to fight him too much because I knew that Seb and Gareth were only about 2 seconds behind, so I didn't really want to get backed up into the pack because I knew my pace wasn't absolutely great in like compared to like the faster drivers, so I wanted to keep as much of that advantage as I could. But in the end, I decided I was going to try past Sondre, and then we did get backed up a little bit. I think Sondre might have managed to stay ahead on the softs,
Yeah.
but then he pitted early, so that gave me loads of clean air just to drive.
Yeah, exactly. All
Mm.
right. Um. So of course the VSC came, I think, in lap 10. Of course you couldn't pit because the VSC was like ending while you were, I think, last corner.
Yeah,
Were
yeah.
you hoping for to pit, or did you would have stayed out anyway, even though the virtual safety car kept going longer?
Nah, I was planning to stay out the whole time. I was thinking maybe I should go in, but then, to my delight, it said VSC ending as soon as everybody behind me had pitted, so they didn't gain an advantage, which was probably quite a big moment in the race for me in
Yeah,
terms of where I finished.
yeah, exactly. So of course after the VSC you pitted, I think around 3 or 4 laps after it to the hard tires.
Yes, lap
Um,
12, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So in what position were you after your pit stop to the
Uh,
hard?
Pit stop, I came out about uh 10th, I think.
Yeah,
But
of course,
then,
with people still have to pit
yeah,
to do the hard runners.
yeah,
So you were on the hard tire quite early, because I think the strategy is like around lap 14, I think.
mm.
But did you felt comfortable through your whole stint on the hard tire, or did you felt comfortable on the hard tire with lower
Yeah,
fuel, of course?
yeah, I did feel quite confident because everybody else around me on the mediums pitted under the VSC, so that sort of gave me a window where I could pit a wee bit earlier than my planned pit stop because I knew I'd still have 2 or 3 lap fresher tyres than everybody in front and behind me. So I thought, okay, I'm going to come in a lap early, I think it was. And then by the end, they were pretty worn, about 45–50%. So towards the end, it did come into play because of course, last corner, Martin managed to pass
Yeah,
me because I missed the apex of the second last corner, which left the door open for him to come and attack me through the sort of final straight.
yeah.
Mm.
So of course you're saying it yourself already. You were quite alone, I think, for a lot of laps, just
Mm.
keeping it consistent. And of course, in the last corner of the last lap, Martin passed you for
Yeah.
P7, six, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
six.
Martin got P6, I got
Yeah,
P7, yeah.
and I mean, you're still quite lucky to not spin out and lose more positions. So I think you gotta be happy with P7. Some
Yeah,
solid
I'm
points.
absolutely happy with P7 compared to some of my other results where I've just got like 10th. I think 9th was my best finish before this, so I'll take the couple of extra points
Yeah,
every day.
so of course for half, nice points on the board. I think Chris not finishing in the points, I think.
Yeah, I actually have a game clip. Basically, I tried to send it to you, obviously, but the stream wouldn't allow
Yeah.
it to be shown. But basically, Chris spun out. Roy was right behind him, so Roy got very unlucky and he just got caught in the spin. And then
Yeah.
that was 2 extra places I gained as well, so that helped me a lot. My teammate helped me
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, of course. So I think some solo points for Haas. Where are you now in the standings? Seventh,
Uh,
I think.
I don't know. Prior to this weekend, we were bottom, I think, because
Okay.
me and Chris haven't made a lot of races, and then I haven't scored in some races. But I think hopefully we should jump up a couple of positions after this
Yeah.
weekend.
So I think
Yeah.
some really important points for
Mm.
Haas of one team. Talking about the whole season. Where do you think you can get in constructors championship? Do you think you can aim for a top seven or?
Constructors, yeah, I think as long as me and Chris consistently show up, I think we can. Some weekends, if the track suits us, we can get some big points for the team.
Yeah.
I think I'm hoping that one weekend Chris can finish sort of on the podium and I can get sort of a top 6, top 7 spot. That would be good. That'd be pretty big for the constructors.
Yeah, exactly. So you're talking about some good tracks coming up. What are the tracks for you that are good? That are
Um,
still left on the calendar?
well, I really like Baku. Silverstone is my big one. I'm
Yeah.
quite comfortable at Silverstone. But coming up this weekend, I absolutely despise Suzuka. So I don't anticipate getting any points this weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, but Britain pretty much my favourite. I like Singapore as well, but
Yeah.
Baku.
So
Yeah.
so you're saying you don't really like Suzuka. What will be your plan to get more confident on the track? Will it be like time trial, some
Yeah,
practice programs? What will be your plan to get more confident on the track?
yeah. Just gonna try get a set up in time trial first, and then just do a couple practice races. See what strategies. Maybe go for an alternate strategy since I'll probably be qualifying close to the bottom. Maybe go with an alternate strategy to mix things up, try and get in the points. But last time out at Suzuka last season, I had an absolutely dreadful race. It's probably my worst race in the league so far. Every time I came out the pits on cold tires, I'd spin in that long right-hander. So flashbacks are going to be coming this week.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you're now around P13 in the standings. Are you aiming for a top 10 finish, or is that too high for grabs? Or can you go for top 10? What do you think?
Well, start of the season, I was aiming for top 10. But if I look at the standings from before this weekend, I see a really competitive field in the top 10. Like before this weekend, Roy was in the top 10, and he's been sort of above me in terms of his performance this season. So
Hmm.
I don't know if top 10 is realistic. Maybe 11th. I reckon I could go for that.
Yeah.
Um, But you never know. Top 10 could maybe come
Yeah,
if I have a couple of really
everything is
good races.
possible in our races,
Yeah.
I think.
Hmm.
We talked about a lot about the league race itself, but of course we had an event on Sunday as well where you were commentating, of course.
Yeah.
How did you experience that? You commentating for the first time and the championship as a whole. How did you experience that?
Yeah, it was a really good experience actually. Cam did really well. I let him take sort of control of the first race or two, so that I could sort of get used to how you do it really, because I didn't want to just like go in straight at the deep end, be like commentating like loads when I'm not really. I need to get used to switching the cameras and that. But then um, after a few races, Cam obviously had to leave, so then I sort of took over the main commentator role.
Mm,
And I mean, I got more comfortable as it went on. I wasn't 100% like comfortable in
yeah,
like obviously like it's hard trying to fill in the gaps. I think
yeah,
Cameron's mentioned that before. Sometimes it's really hard to fill in gaps.
yeah, exactly.
Uh, but I did overall really enjoy it. It was fun.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think the whole league and of course as well me can say you did a pretty good job. I think for the first time, I think we really enjoyed it. And what was your favorite race to commentate from the 8 races we've had? What was your favorite race to watch and commentate, do you think?
favorite race to commentate. Oh, I quite liked Baku because I feel like there was quite a lot of controversy in
Yeah.
Baku. I think there
Yeah,
was
of
quite a
course the
lot of
best driver
spins.
won there as well, so
Mm.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Baku was a nice race. I mean, I started I think like sixth and I had a pretty decent start and I could have driven to the back, but I heard afterwards it was quite a big mess. Like the
Mm.
midfield, of course, is Baku, so yeah,
Mm.
expect that. I
Yeah,
think
of
to end,
course.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Of
Oh
course,
no, go ahead.
AJ. I'm pretty sure AJ crashed in the castle section as well. So that just made it so much sweeter. It
Yeah,
just made it so
exactly.
much nicer.
Yeah, I think we can all say AJ's washed.
Yeah.
Nah, AJ. I think AJ was running P2 in the last race, and if he got P2, he would have grabbed my £10 in the last race, but he unfortunately, for me, fortunately, but for himself, unfortunately, spun.
Oh,
But
I've just looked in the chat and turns out I just made that up. Maybe that was some sort of fantasy I had in my head. But yeah, that didn't happen. But still,
he did not crash. He said.
yeah, he's saying he's not crashed. So
Uh, all right. Let's to end the podcast. Let's end with some questions of the guys in the chat. Hopefully they have some nice questions for you, Cameron, and hopefully
okay, yeah,
finally
hopefully.
some serious questions for one time.
Hmm.
AJ's a little bit mad. He lost his
Yeah, he
money.
is. Honestly, yeah, he is.
Cameron, fellow Cameron says, Cammy, are you the goat at comms? Are you
No,
the goat?
I could never take that title off of the OG Cameron commentator. I could never.
All right, all right. Do we have more questions, guys, for Cameron? Hopefully we have, because I can't wait to crash into Cammy and Baku, says Austin.
Not if I do it first.
Yeah.
Not if I. I'll be starting behind you, so I've got a better opportunity to crash into you.
Yeah, AJ. Chill. We have some few more questions, guys. Some serious questions for once. Opinions about Baku, says
Oh,
fellow
I
Cameron.
really, really like Baku. I know that Cameron's going to hate me for saying this because I know he
Yeah.
despises that circuit, but I do also love Singapore if it's a consolation. Baku, I just need to sort of stay concentrated because last season, I crashed at the castle section, but not the bit you'd think you'd crash at. I crashed at the exit, tapped a barrier, and my entire wheel came off randomly.
Yeah.
So that sort of ruined my race there last time. But I think it's going to be safety car heaven, even though it's a street track and it'll be reduced safety cars. I think there'll still be a
hmm
few safety cars.
Yeah. Okay. Austin asks you, have you gotten used to the ABS on?
Uh, I've not really practiced that much with it, but it definitely helped me in the last race because I didn't need to worry about locking up. I was able to defend harder. I tried really hard to defend as hard as I could from Roy's coaching that he gave me about defensive driving. I tried hard to drive hard against Martin at the end, but it wasn't enough, unfortunately. His pace it was too good. Yeah. But I feel like me and Sondre had some good battles, and that was helped by the ABS being on because I could
Yeah.
brake later. Yeah.
So Roy asks you as well, what do you think about the Austria race? I think he means like the track in general.
Yeah. No, I think he's talking about the Austria race from the championship where he won.
Ah, okay.
I did enjoy that race
All
actually. It was
right.
quite fun. I did give Roy some props for winning. I think he won by a convincing margin as well. It was a
Yeah.
second or two gap.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I enjoyed it, Roy. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was really unlucky that race. I already started like 14th. I was up to 9th in one lap, and then I got spun out. And like last corner, I was like going for 10th. Four people spun ahead of me, so I could have got 6th, and then I got spun again. So that was not my favorite race of the of the championship. But I mean, Roy, it was a great win, of course, on this favorite track of the game.
Yeah.
The fell Cameron says Roy won must have been a fluke in the calculations.
Yeah, I think people just forgot about Roy and just let him. They're just fighting each other, and then Roy just drove through.
I think actually Roy did a great job in that race.
Yeah,
I mean, in the whole
yeah, he did.
championship, because I expected him to be like him, dead last or like 16th, 15th, but he had actually finished like 8th or 9th.
Yeah, I think Roy, if I remember rightly, he didn't have any great expectations going into it, but he did perform better than I think he expected. I was quite impressed with him in the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AJ, AJ says David always bringing up his own race. Yeah,
Yeah,
also, but if
well,
you're leading
yeah.
the championship, you're allowed to do that, you know? Hey, Luke has joined the chat as well. You know him still, Luke? Like the old, I think you were in the league. I think,
What's his gamer tag? What's his gamer tag?
Lucky the man.
Yeah, I've played with him before,
Yeah,
yeah.
the sender of our league back in the
Yeah.
days.
Uh,
The guy who won Singapore Grand Prix. But anyway, we have one more question for Cameron, guys, to end off the podcast, and we can and look better than David. He won more races at Singapore than me, so that's actually true, Austin. That's actually really true. You're right.
yeah,
Singapore. Yup, Cameron, he won
Singapore
Singapore.
finale. Yeah, Singapore finale is going to be good. I'm pretty sure it's the finale this year.
Yup.
Um,
Opinions about Singapore. What's your opinion about Singapore on the track?
Opinions on Singapore. I really like Singapore. I think it's a great track. I just love how flowing it is, and I feel like I've always had decent pace on the game. Um, and you need to drive pretty consistently. You can't make mistakes, otherwise it's a street circuit. The walls are close, and you're gonna pay for it. But I think it's really satisfying track to drive. I feel like it'll be quite good for the league race as well because there's going to be a lot of crashes. So that
Yeah,
could be one. As long as I don't get involved in those crashes, I could finish quite high up, I think.
yeah, exactly. Roy asks you as well, what position will you get at Japan, do you think?
Uh, uh, Depends how many people join the race. If we have a full lobby, it's going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
But if we have a reduced lobby, and maybe I think the highest I'm going to finish is probably P12. Like best case scenario, without like a miracle, is probably like P12.
Okay, alright. So, we're gonna end the podcast, of course. Thanks for joining, Cameron.
Yeah, no bother.
Really great you got some time for me on this Wednesday evening. Have a
Yeah,
good
I
night.
enjoyed it.
Enjoy
Yeah.
it. And see you later, mate. Bye bye.